All right, Ms. Otter here. Wanted to do a couple fraction examples over addition and subtraction. So before we begin, I just wanted to review these notes real quick and point a couple things out. Remember when we are adding and subtracting fractions, that the number one thing you must remember is to get a common denominator. Notice that is the very first step listed for adding and subtracting fractions. So that's only when we're adding and subtracting fractions do we want to find a common denominator. So I just wanted to point those steps out again real quick. All right. So let's work out an example together. All right, so this first addition one, step one, we have to find a common denominator. So we're going to look at 7 and 3 and say, what would be my least common multiple? Because that's what you're going to be using, multiples for 7 and 3. And the lowest one I can think of is 21. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up here. And notice I go ahead and write my common denominator right away. So there's no confusion. Now let's make some equivalent fractions. So if I have 21 as my common denominator, I have to multiply 7 by 3, which means I have to do the same to the numerator, giving me 18. And then for my other fraction, I have to multiply 3 by 7, giving me 21. And then do the same to the numerator. All right, so I get 14. All right, so we have 18 plus 14 going across the top. And then we'll add our whole numbers as well. So we get 5 plus 4, giving you 9. And then I'm going to go ahead and write my common denominator. And 18 plus 14, well, 10 plus 10 would give you 20, plus 12 more. So you would have 32. Now notice at the top, we have 32. And that is larger than 21. That means we can pull a whole number out and add it to our whole number that we have right now. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times can 21 go into 32? If you answered one time, then you are correct. So I add one whole to my 9, and then my remainder from 21 to 32 will be my numerator. So I still keep my denominator of 21. And from 21 to 32, there's 11 left, which is my numerator. And I cannot simplify, so I am done. So that is example number 1. Let's check out number 2. Again, I need to find a common denominator. I'm going to go ahead and set up my problem. Between 6 and 4, a good common denominator would be 12. A lot of people may jump to 24, but remember, if you're using LCM, the lower, the easier it is to work with. Now make our equivalent fractions. So I should get 9/12 for 3/4. And then for the 1/6, it would be 2/12. So those are the same fractions, just now they both have a denominator of 12. So before I do anything, I like to look for subtraction problems. I like to look at my numerators to make sure that they can subtract and that I don't need to borrow. In this case, 9 minus 2 works, so I know I do not need to borrow and I can keep going. So I can subtract my whole numbers first. So 9 minus 2 would leave you with 7. And I am going to go ahead and write my common denominator down so I don't forget that. And then 9 minus 2 again leaves you with 7 as your numerator. And we cannot simplify anymore, so we are done. Hope that helps, guys. Bye.